and welcome to the Momversation Club, the podcast born out of the idea that every mum needs a tribe. I'm Claire Strong.
And I'm Christina Schreckmeyer. We're two moms just like you, navigating the chaotic, challenging, and often isolating world of motherhood.
Now, it's said that it takes a village to raise a child, but we want to know, where the F is that village?
Yep, it's a question that resonates with so many of us who find ourselves raising children, managing careers, and trying to maintain our own identities, often with a sense of isolation.
It can be so much at times, but we're here to remind you that you're not alone. The Momversation Club is your village, a place where you feel valued, appreciated, and understood.
We believe that by sharing our own experiences, successes, and struggles, that we can create a virtual village for all you amazing moms out there.
So join us every week for an honest, raw, and relatable discussion about all aspects of being a mom, including the things you can't talk about with anyone else.
So if you've ever asked yourself, where the F is the village? Well, you found your tribe. Let's get into it.
Hi, Christina.
Hey, Claire. How's it going?
It's going good. Yeah, just got girls to school, and you know how it is.
Hurrah! Both of them in school? That's great.
Both of them in school. I've had no call so far to say anyone's ill or sick or there's a drama. So touch wood. I'm touching my desk like 1,000 times right now. Touch wood. I have a clear morning just to do work stuff.
Did you just say touch wood?
Yeah, touch wood. Have you not heard of that?
No, we knock on the wood. We knock on wood. Oh, do you guys just touch it?
Yeah, we say, touch wood. Yeah, touch wood.
Oh my gosh. How funny. I love when we find these little isms. But yeah. The American is knock on wood. So you might want to.
Okay, well. I'm knocking, and my phone isn't blowing up. So it must be working. I don't want to jinx anything. So my morning's going pretty well. What about yours?
We're doing okay. Fun fact about this topic today, I'm coming out of a birthday situation with my youngest. And it's funny because they're only a couple months apart between birthdays with my oldest. And so I'm coming out of one and I'm already thinking about the next. And so this morning I was kind of on Pinterest and looking around at different ideas for several months from now when my oldest birthday comes in. Because I'm I don't want to be caught, not prepared for her birthday and giving her options of what she might want to do.
Oh my God. Well, that's actually the topic of today's conversation, isn't it? We're going to talk about birthday parties, because for anyone who doesn't know you are very big on birthday parties. And so, as you are the queen of birthday parties, I want you to share with me and our audience what prep goes into your parties, because they're pretty impressive, actually, aren't they?
Well, you know what? I'll take the queen title. I do believe that it belongs to one of my really good friends who's a party planner extraordinaire. But I would say I'm in second in command when it comes to parties. And, I really get a lot of enjoyment out of it. You'd mentioned queen of parties, people who know me. People have come to know that when I throw a party, there's usually a pretty fun theme and there's usually some really cute details in it. And I think that before we get into the way I do parties, caveat, I know that parties have become a little bit of pressure for moms. I think that birthday culture, as they call it, can be a lot for a lot of people who are navigating children's birthdays. There's kind of this pressure to up the ante and keep up with the Joneses, and the birthdays get more and more elaborate, especially in areas where maybe the income's a little bit higher. I've seen some crazy parties online where I'm did you spend your wedding budget on that? I mean, you're in San Diego, so do you see that around with moms that are in your area?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say to you, I enjoy throwing parties for my kids, but there is definitely pressure to keep up with whoever it was that threw a party for their kid. Yeah, we live in quite an affluent area, Christine. We're on the coast, and let's put it like this. There are a lot of people that appear to have a lot of money around here, and they definitely spend it on their kids.
Yeah.
And so, luckily, though, we live really close to the beach. So, for example, my youngest, it's her birthday coming up. And for her party, and she's done this she's done this since we moved here, really. She has a party on the beach. So,
Oh,
although we live in this, very wealthy area where people have a lot of disposable income to spend on, ridiculous sized birthday parties, that's not my situation. But luckily, even given the factors I've just mentioned, you can still do something for pretty much, well, I say free, the venue's free, but then, you throw in, well,
yeah.
pizzas and
On a
then
budget.
snacks and drinks and the cake. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so there are some expenses, but I don't need to, thankfully, luckily, have to think about necessarily, booking a venue. And that said, it was my eldest daughter's 16th this year.
That's right.
And yes, and now I did do something nice for that because in the UK, 16 is not that big of a deal, but here it seems to be a bigger thing, the whole Sweet 16 thing.
Hmm.
And so I did do something quite cute for Sophia's birthday. I hired, do you say hired or do you say rent here? I always get confused. Do you hire
Hired
something or do
rent.
you rent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Either one. Either one's fine.
So so I hired a little pink party boat because we're obviously on the coast, and it only sat about 8 people. It was really small, but it was the cutest little thing. And we set off from San Diego Harbor, and I think we were out on the harbor for about 2 hours. And so it was a little extra, but nothing, it was still like the boat was under $500, which here is still not bad. And it was her really big party. It was a big birthday.
Yeah.
So she took, I think she took 5 friends with her. And then there was myself, my husband, and my youngest daughter. And they did karaoke. And it was all pink themed and Barbie and glittery. It was so cute. And then all I did was I grabbed some pizzas from Domino's on the way. And I did have a nice cake made for her. So that was kind of the extra thing as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we did do, a pretty extravagant party this year for Sophia's 16th. But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, I'm doing a pretty much free party for my younger one because we're taking advantage of the beach.
Balance is where it's at. I
Balance,
remember
balance.
seeing pictures and video from Sophia's party, and if I do remember correctly, there was some pretty great karaoke going on that boat. It was really
Oh, there was
cute.
some fantastic karaoke. And the funny thing was, they were listening to the Spice Girls. Well, they were big when I was a teenager. And I'm not, nothing against them. I wasn't like a huge fan of them when they came
Be
out, but I
careful.
do know their stuff. I, my best friend Rachel, she's listening to this. She's obsessed with him. She like dresses up as, I think she dresses up as, I don't know, maybe Jerry. I don't know. I can't remember.
Well,
But
it's
anyway,
part of lady culture. Like, I think of a
yeah,
generation, we all were identifying with one of the Spice Girls.
yeah,
And you were
totally.
that Spice Girl. There was no shifting.
Yeah, exactly. So I think she identifies as Jerry.
Love
But
that. Love that for her.
even though I'm not a huge Spice Girls fan, obviously I know the words of some of their songs because it was kind of my era. And so the girls were playing these Spice Girls songs on the karaoke, but they didn't know the words. So I was like, "Girls, give me the microphone." So I was just
Oh,
I was just singing along. So that was quite funny. And the girls were sure to video that. So we have some evidence of my
oh
karaoke
man.
on board
Well,
the Pink Party boat.
that'll be some fun, real content for us to put up. But that does bring me to my
Yeah.
point, is that
Mm.
birthday parties for kids are often for the moms. I will say, like, putting it out there, like, that is a stand I'm taking. Like, it's not typically when you see someone going all out for a birthday party or doing something really fun, the moms are, it's partly the kid, but it's mostly the mom. And, getting into that saying of like, we were talking about a little bit ago, if you don't enjoy that, like if you aren't someone who like loves putting in a lot of details and like wants to be all, Pinterest mom about it, don't feel pressure. Like there are moms who that is like their love language. They love to do it. And there's other moms who, are going to exhort, outsource that. So that way you can like maybe go to a party place or, there's a lot of ways to do a birthday. It doesn't have to look one way. But you did
Well,
mention I
the
am
other thing
queen,
is,
so I will
yeah,
give
yeah,
tips.
you are queen, and I want you to tell us all about your share some tips with us. But I will say, just on a quick note, this does shift depending on the age of your kids. For example, when the girls were
Yes,
younger, it was all down to me. And I maybe would suggest some things to them, but then I'm ultimately choosing the venue and, I'm doing all the organizing. Now that my girls are older and they're teenagers, it's very much like they're telling me, Mum, this is what I'd like to do for my party. This is
totally.
what I'd like to eat. So, I mean, I obviously still need to make it happen, but they've got the idea. So I'm like a foot soldier now. I'm following their lead rather than me thinking, oh my God, where can we have the party? The other thing is in England, because quite often the weather's bad, and if you haven't got a child who's got a summer birthday, and even then the weather can be bad, but if your child's birthday is outside of the decent weather zone in England, really your only options are things like soft play areas, indoor trampoline places.
Yeah.
So in England, that's quite popular. You will just, hand over a couple $100 to the trampoline place, and then 20 kids turn up and they'll feed them there, and then it's all contained. So that's actually, I did that several times when I lived in England with the girls, and I'll be honest, they're kind of the best parties because you are handing it off. There's nothing for you to do. Yeah, you have
Yes.
to stump up a bit of cash, but ultimately it's so worth it because you don't have the cleanup, you don't have to organize food. The only thing you need to do is bring a cake. And actually, some of these places provide a cake. So
Yeah.
they're the best, especially when the kids are younger.
Yes, yes. We did a trampoline park birthday last year for my oldest, and it was fantastic. Yes, it was a little bit of a pretty penny, but when you think about the expenses of what an at home party would cost by the end of it, it was cheaper to do it at like a trampoline place than it was to do it at our home. And again, the cleanup. Also, when you have a party at your home, people sometimes don't leave. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but like they linger,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
am
totally.
not I'm not a lingerer. Like when something's over, I leave immediately. But there are a lot of people that like to linger. And so when you have a party at a place, it's like, all right, it's 12 o'clock. Goodbye, everyone. They don't have to leave, which is so nice for me as someone who doesn't enjoy the extra hosting of like if someone sticks around. So
I agree. I think overall, I prefer outsourcing a party, like having it at a venue, not in my home. I mean, I don't mind the kids bringing back some friends to sleep over. I'm sure that's going to happen with my youngest after her beach
yes.
party. She's going to bring some friends over, and that's fine. But it's not like, we've got 20 people in the house, and then the parents turn up, and then the parents are wanting to chat. Meanwhile, you're exhausted because you've just been hosting all these kids. The house looks like, a bomb's just exploded, and you kind of just want to
It's so
leave.
true.
So yeah, I've got to say I'm a big supporter of not having parties in my own home. That said, you do that, and you've just recently had one. So tell me about that. How did it go?
So yeah, I really do enjoy hosting things at my house. But again, something I really love to do. It's a talent that I have. But what I love about having talents is sometimes I share the wealth with my mom friends and they share kind of what my process is. And maybe they can grab a few tips and things like that. So I'm hoping to do that with my audience. But yeah, I just had a party for my youngest. So it's fresh on top of my mind of like, what do you do first? Like, how do you go about planning a party at your house if you're not an event manager or someone who like is skilled in that area? And so for me, my first step is always figuring out the theme, because if you're at your house, like you kind of want it to be themed. Otherwise, you're just at your house. You want to have decorations and things like that. And I have done parties where the theme is it's your birthday and there's like balloons and classic like 90s style birthday. I've done that before. But I do like to do fun themes. And I usually will hit up Pinterest. That's like my first step, Pinterest. And I will start to create a board on Pinterest. And what I find is that there are a lot of talented people out there that have maybe already done that theme and have done it to the max. And I might take some inspiration from what they've done and make that into my theme and kind of and meld those. And so some themes I've done outside of like the typical cartoon of the month, like definitely have done my fair share of like the Encanto and the Frozen and the whatever cartoon my kids are into. But The ones I like the most are the ones where they're kind of my party, but like they're given to my kid. And so I've done Rise and Shine. It's donut time, where it was for a 2-year old birthday, and all the little kids had come in their jammies, and we had donuts and like hors d'oeuvres and mimosas for the moms and dads that came. And it was really fun because nobody
Wow.
had to like get their kids ready. So that was a really fun theme.
Wow, I love that. Oh my God, donuts and mimosas as well. Yes, please.
Totally. And obviously like yogurts and fruits and things, I don't want to like hype them up too much. But it was really fun to do that. And then I remember I ordered a cake from a bakery, and it was like a cake that looked like pancake stacks, but it was like an actual cake.
Wow.
And it didn't cost very much because I went to like a local small bakery, and I said, hey, this is the idea, be creative. And they came out with something really cool. Um, I've also done If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, the book. It was a favorite book of my oldest for a while, and it was her 3rd birthday. And so I dressed her as the mouse from the book. She was in like overalls and put a little space buns in her hair, so she had like mouse ears. And we did like
Oh,
milk and cookies and like snacks and hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. But yeah, like basically I come up with the idea, the theme, and then I'll go, okay, let me create a board. And then what I do typically is I put a board together where it's like every idea I can possibly find on this theme, like not taking into consideration like budget or DIY or any of that stuff. And then as we get closer to the party, I go back to that board and I delete things that are ridiculous. Like, there's no way I'm going to sit there and do like a garland of this. Like, I'm not going to, that's not me. Delete. And I'll go through and I'll go, okay, is this something that's in budget? Is it feasible for me to do? If it's not feasible for me to do, is there someone in my circle who might be able to help me do it? And I can kind of outsource it. And I kind of edit down my ideas into like a realistic space. So that's like my first step is like Pinterest, and then get real with your Pinterest board.
so hang on a second. How many months prior to the event are we talking here?
You're going to really
This
make
sounds
me
very
feel bad.
organized.
I've been thinking about my daughter's 2nd birthday since right after her 1st birthday.
Oh my God. And here's me on the weekend of my daughter's birthday, and I have nothing
Well, again,
ordered.
I will
Okay.
throw together, like, for instance, my daughter Rennie, I put like Rennie's 2nd birthday, and I wasn't sure what theme. So I would see a cute theme and I would just throw it in there. And then as we got closer, I was kind of between 2 different themes, and I was like, okay, this one is appealing because I could really do a small party with just a few kids. Or there's this one where I invite all her friends that we've, gathered over the course of this last year. And I chose the bigger party, but there was 2 options. So that's kind of the benefit, is like you can collect multiple ideas if you start ahead. So, and if you have an
Yeah,
older
that's
kid,
really nice.
you can present those. Like, hey, Eva, here is 2 ideas that I was thinking. Open to suggestions. Do you have a 3rd idea? Are these 2, like, is there one that you like more than the other? And then making sure that the options are in your budget and like doable for you and your family.
Yeah, exactly. Because my eldest for 16th had the idea of maybe a yacht for her birthday party. I was like, yeah, well, okay, so I don't have like 10 grand or 20 grand just to throw it.
God bless
So the
you.
the yacht went from a yacht to a little tiny 8-seater paddle boat, basically, but it was still fun. And that's the thing. That's the thing. I think with the kids, especially as they get older, now when they're younger, they're inviting everyone from the class, and it's not necessarily that they're best friends with anyone, or even that they're particularly close with people. It seems to be a numbers game when they're younger.
Yes.
Whereas when they're older, they're inviting the people that are in their friend circle, their close friends. And so I think as long as they've got those people, to celebrate that moment with them. And, I'm just thinking, for my youngest birthday, whose birthday is coming up next week, and I'm yet to do anything for it, she loves to sing. And so, like, why don't I get a karaoke off Amazon and do that type of thing? And I guess what I'm saying to you is, it's not necessarily a case that you have to go above and beyond with, down to the nth detail with regards to your theme. I think if you get the people that they want there and you have
Yeah,
something fun to do, you get them what they like to eat, you're good.
you're good.
Um, you are good. I mean, I enjoyed looking back on when they were younger. I did enjoy the theme parties. My eldest, Sophia, I remember we went to riding stables and she had like a pony theme party.
So cute.
And again, like, yeah, it was really cute. So they all went riding and then they had this really cute little horse cake that I'd ordered. And then one time we went to the butterfly house nearby us, and there's lots of tropical butterflies flying around. So that was an easy one. Everything was butterfly themed, and I did enjoy it. And I look back on the photos, and I'm glad I did it. I am glad I did it, but it can be kind of a high pressure environment, especially if it is all down to you and there's no one to delegate to. Because, like,
Yes.
when
Yeah.
my kids were having these big parties, Christina, I was a single mom, and I know you were for some of your, well, for your eldest's birthdays. I know you were too, and so it's not like you've got a partner that you can pass stuff off onto. It's all down to you. So it either
Yeah.
happens because you do it, or it doesn't happen at all. So I do remember feeling a little under pressure on those
Yeah.
occasions.
Well, and I will say that for most moms, not to generalize, because there are amazing dads out
Yeah,
there, but it is kind of down to them. The dads typically will
yeah,
stay out of it and be like, this is your thing, even though it's a party that you're both throwing. I feel like
hmm
my husband made a really funny comment. And my husband does help. Like, he was up late at night. We had a farm themed party for Runny's last birthday. It was an EIEIO theme, like McDonald, old McDonald.
yeah. That's
And
cute.
it was cute. It was like Moo Moo, Rennie's turning 2 was the theme.
Oh,
And so,
that's
but
so
I
sweet.
had this idea that I had saw on Pinterest where you buy like pink solo cups and put little black dots and Sharpie so that when people drink the cup, it looks like they're a pig.
Oh,
And
that's so sweet.
I was like, that's cute, but I forgot. And so in like in the middle of the party planning, I forgot to like do that. So the night before, my husband's sitting there with a Sharpie, like coloring pig noses on solo cups for me as I'm like, getting like little goodie bag thingies wrapped up and stuff. And so there are dads that help, but by and far, a lot of people who have partners that are male, not to generalize, but like,
Yes.
um, they tend to stay out of it. And it's kind of like a group project where you throw this great party and he gets the kudos and you, but he didn't do
Yeah.
anything. He just signed his name on that shit.
Doesn't that really wind you up? I mean, I don't want to digress too much, but if you're throwing a barbecue and it's generally, I mean, my husband's really good at grilling, but I do all the prep. And so it's fine. I do want to give him some credit. He's really good on the grill,
Yeah.
but it tastes great because he does cook them really well, as in, like, doesn't overcook them and stuff. But guess who did the marinade? Guess who did all of that? So it's kind of reminds me of that situation. Birthday
Yeah.
parties are a barbecue situation where you
Absolutely.
get, yeah, you get mutual credit, and really it's a little one-sided. But
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
god, you mentioned something that we must talk about: party bags, goodie bags.
Yes.
Now, these, okay, so I want to know what you do for them, but also talk about stress. Those things, honestly, they're the bane of my life because they are. Because you don't want to put crap in them because, people are going to be like, oh, the mums are going to be so displeased when they open it and see all this like cheap stuff you've shoved in there that's just going to go in the bin, in the trash can. But then in the same breath, and especially as the girls get older, they're wanting like nice stuff in there, like a Sephora gift card. And I'm like, my God, I'd like a Sephora gift card, thank you. I mean, just in general,
Can
never
I get a
mind
goodie
an
bag?
I know, I know. Like I'll do myself one, thanks. So talk to me about those because they are. I've always found those to be honestly pretty stressful because I've wanted to make sure that the stuff in there is useful and nice, so
Yeah.
that it doesn't just get thrown out as soon as the kid arrives home. So
So
what do you do?
I I have
Talk
an
to me about that.
unpopular opinion in that
Okay.
I don't like to do them. I
Oh, you
I
don't.
don't
Okay.
do them often.
Okay. That's
And
smart.
also unpopular opinion, I don't like wedding favors, and I didn't do wedding favors at my
Yeah.
wedding.
Okay.
I just feel like you're like, oh, cute. And then it goes in the garbage or gets thrown in a drawer somewhere. And it's like
Exactly.
2 seconds of like, oh, cute is not worth the stress and like financial piece of a favor. That being
Yes.
said, I did mention like a favor bag, like a little goodie bag. What I was talking about is I sometimes will do like a food item that doubles
Mhm.
as like table decor and can be taken home. So like if
Mhm.
you give a mouse a cookie, I made sure I bought extra cookies and I bought to
Mhm.
go containers for like that had like little happy birthday with like the mouse. I like made it in Canva, like a little mouse and everything, and it had like Stella's birthday, but it was like just take your cookies. Like that is your favor.
Right. Yeah.
For Rennie's
Good.
birthday, I'm extra, and so I bought like Pirates Booty popcorn, and I put it in like a little snack bag, and then wrapped it
Uh-huh.
in green tissue paper so it looked like an ear of corn. And then I
Oh.
put them out on the table as like part of the food, but I knew no one would take it, and so on the way out I gave people ears of corn like as a going. And then also I
Oh,
bought
that's nice.
balloon sticks for them to all play, not balloon sticks, bubble sticks to play outside with
Mhm.
because they were on sale for 50 cents a piece at Walmart. And then I was like, oh yeah,
Oh.
and also those are to take with you as well.
So in England, quite often you slice the cake up after you've sang happy birthday and you put the cake in a bag and the cake is what you take away with you. Do you do that here? Yeah, because I don't know
No,
what cake. Oh yeah.
no, we
So
eat the cake.
okay. Right. Yeah. So in England, you sing happy birthday and you slice it up, but it goes straight in a party bag and then they leave. That's like the cue for them to leave. And so, oh, that's funny because I've
Oh,
been doing it the English way since I moved here, and maybe like the kids and the parents wondering, like, what the hell is this woman doing? But yeah, so
yeah, no,
sing
that's
happy
not normal, Claire.
birthday.
It's not
That's normal to
normal.
me. Yeah, so listen, so you sing happy birthday, and that's the cue. Everyone's leaving now. We sang happy birthday. I'm slicing the cake. Here's the bag that I'm putting the cake in, and you're now going. So thank you. Thanks for coming.
You know
Bye.
what? That's a
What?
smart idea, especially if you've got cupcakes because you're like, here you go, goodbye.
Yeah,
But for in America, what I've
yeah.
noticed is usually the gift opening is signifying the end. But again, unpopular
Oh,
opinion, in my house when we do parties, unless it's a small amount of kids, like
yeah.
I don't know, 5 to 8, I'm not opening gifts. Like
Oh
I'm not
no,
doing
I've never
that.
done that with kids. Well, I think
It's
that's never occurred to me. I think I feel, and maybe this is an English thing, I feel that's a little rude because it's kind of like comparing who's got you what gift, and someone might not have as much money as the other parent, and they maybe not have bought something as expensive or as whatever. So I actually, in fact, I go the other way. I tell my girls not to open any presents until we get home or
it
until the guests have gone.
it's kind
That's
of
what I do.
I feel like it can go either way. Like it just depends
Yeah.
on like the parent and what their parents probably did. But like when I was growing up, it was you sit down and you open every single gift, and then after every single gift you have to put it down and go hug that person and say thank you. And it
Oh,
was
okay.
like such a long process because if you have a lot of gifts, like more than 20, by the end of it, you're
Yeah,
like, I don't even give a shit about gifts right now. I'm so tired.
yeah,
I don't want to do
yeah,
that. And
yeah.
so
Oh my yeah.
we don't do that. And it also allows me with the younger one to like not give her all the gifts at once because it's
Yes.
overwhelming for like young children to have like 20 gifts all at once. I usually pull like 3 to 4 and then like pull them out every few weeks, like a different gift. And then I
Oh,
take
that's
pictures
smart.
of her playing
Mhm.
with them and text the person who gave it to her. And I keep record of that. Like as I'm opening them on my own, I keep record of who gave me what so I can send thank you notes because I still do thank you notes.
Oh, cause I was gonna ask you about that too. I don't think again, I don't know whether it's that widely, used. I don't think thank you cards are that widely given after parties. It's not something I mean, I never did it that as a child, and I can't remember any being at any birthday parties with the kids where that's been done. But here, thank you cards seem to be a bigger deal, actually. So do you literally send cards to everyone that buys your kid a present?
Well, it depends. So
Right.
at Christmas time, if
Mhm.
you're there and you are watching my kid open the gift, then no, you don't get a gift card from me.
Okay.
Or not gift card, but a
Okay.
thank you note.
Yeah, thank you note, yeah.
If you're far away and you send a Christmas gift over, I do send a thank you note. And same with birthdays, because they aren't watching them open it, I will send the thank you
Okay.
note. And I think that's my marker as a mom. It's like, if you watched my kid open and they said thank you to you, you've been thanked. If you have not seen them open and like say thank you, then we should send a thank you note. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, so that's a good rule of thumb. Yeah, I like that because I'm always a bit confused with that. And, and I don't want to offend people by not sending thank you cards. But then it's like, well, what am I doing? Sending 20 thank you cards out? It
It's
seems
so
a
time
little,
consuming.
yeah, that's the problem. It
So
seems a little much.
here's a little tip. So if you have a large
Right?
amount of kids that came to your birthday and you're going to be sending
Yeah.
a thank you card to everyone, I'll go on Etsy and type in my theme and thank you card. And oftentimes on Etsy.com, there'll be like somebody has a template where you can insert a picture. And I'll just make sure I get a group photo of my daughter with everybody at the party. And I'll just put that picture on there and say, like, thank you for coming and enjoying, the party with us. We appreciate your friendship or something. I don't say like thank you for blah 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 blah. That being said,
Okay.
I do keep record of that, and I keep it for like a while, just because if they're playing with something or wearing something that person gave them, I want to be able to take a picture and send it to the right person. So I don't thank every single person individually on the thank you card, but I do keep record for like texts and stuff. I also keep
Hmm.
record because my
Okay.
mother-in-law hammered it into me. After I got married, I sent thank you cards to everybody, and they were
Hmm.
individualized. And then about a year and a half later, she was like, do you know who gave you this specific item she's holding up in my kitchen? And I was like, nope, but they've been thanked because I sent thank you cards to everybody. And she's like, oh, well, you're supposed to keep a record of what every single person got you so that you know what to get them. And that's just how you do it. That's what you do. And that's something that I guess is like an older tradition with like the older folks, is that you keep records so that when you get married, you get this, so that when their kids get married, you kind of are comparable. You're not getting something that's lower in cost to what they gave you at your wedding. I would
Oh,
never have thought of
wow.
that.
No, I wouldn't have. And that sounds like a little
And
bit
I thought it was a her thing, and
excessive.
I did some looking around, and it's not just her. It's like a lot of older
Really?
boomers. Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. Yeah, I don't know whether I can commit to that.
It's too much. I
Yeah,
have all these like
it is
Apple
too much.
notes where it's like all the events, and I'm like, somebody, I dare you to ask me what happened 2 years ago. I got you. Like,
Oh my God. No, that's too much. And honestly, people of like our generation and younger, do they really? I mean, I would not think to be like, oh my God, hang on a second. Let me see what value your present was to
well,
me.
unless you
I mean,
bought nothing, then I would
yeah,
notice. But
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
if you go, I'm not a tit for tat. I mean, that's a lie. I am a tit for tat person, but not when it comes to gifts, because everybody is in different financial places. Everybody's in different situations year to year. It's
Yeah.
like really antiquated, but yeah, people do kind of pay attention to that. And I think along the lines of what you're talking about with the gifts, not opening them in front of them, it's that
Mm,
same thing. It's that same, like, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to like look at people's gifts and be judgmental. And then also
yeah,
your
exactly.
kid might say something about that gift in front of that person,
Oh God,
which
can
is
you imagine?
embarrassing.
Yes. No, I just don't go there. I think there's too many pitfalls to opening presents in front of people. But I'm thinking back to my parties when I was growing up. When I was younger, I did have like a couple. I maybe had a couple of bigger ones. Like, I know it sounds ridiculous now, but at McDonald's and places like that, that was like a thing in the 90s. It's certainly the early 90s because
Yeah.
McDonald's, we didn't get a McDonald's in our town till, I don't know, maybe like 1990 or something. I don't know. But so McDonald's was this really cool thing. And so I had a couple of parties like that, or we'd go to not Pizza Hut, but the equivalent of Pizza Hut, whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
We'd do that. So a couple of those parties. But then I don't remember, certainly as I got older, I didn't have parties. Like when I got to the
No.
girls' ages, I wasn't having parties. I don't even think we really did anything. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we went out for dinner, but it was nothing fancy. And I don't even remember doing that, frankly. So it's funny that my girls expect, and they expect because that's what they see people around them doing. They expect a party. Not that my
Yeah.
kids are spoiled brats. I don't mean like they're demanding a party,
No,
but
no, but
they're obviously
they've watched around
that's
them and now they've got this
exactly that's the
expectation.
norm. That's the norm. And even, the older teenagers are having parties. I never had a party. I don't think I had a party when I was a teenager. And so that is interesting.
I think I did. My mom was really good about
Right.
birthday parties, but I think it stemmed from her not having that experience. And so she was trying to give me more. I think every generation of parents tries to just do better than like whatever was
Yeah, we
given to
do.
them.
Hmm.
And so I think a lot of that like depends on what the upbringing was of the parent that's raising you, and then that's kind of your norm. And you might have a spouse that has a different norm and does things differently, and you shift. But I think it's your family, it's your traditions. Like I know for our family, we have parties, but also on their birthday, which is usually not the same day as the party.
Yeah.
We have like little traditions we do, like we'll make a cake and we have a special cake plate that used to be Alex's cake plate. And that's the birthday cake plate. And everybody, we have cake and we invite maybe mom, dad, and grandma over and just do a small gathering. A lot of my friends, they don't do birthday parties, but they'll do experiences as a family, like maybe go to the zoo or
Yes.
go to Disneyland or go somewhere big that they don't normally go. Or even something
Mhm.
small like take them to the cupcake shop and have them get a cupcake and put a little candle in it. Like every family is going to be different, and your child is going to have that norm until they get to school and they get into situations like yours where they go, oh,
Yeah.
well, what about her? And I want to have that, which is a whole different ball game. But yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it
ways
is.
to make it work for you.
I think again, it's just whatever works for you, and you're going to create your own nice little family traditions, and they don't need to be these huge grand gestures that cost hundreds of dollars. It can be. I like your idea of just going and getting a birthday cake. I mean, honestly, that's what on my kids' birthdays they rarely have their party on their birthday. So on their actual birthday, it's generally a regular day, but we'll do a birthday cake and maybe we'll get pizza for dinner or something like that. But it is
Yeah.
something it's low key usually on their birthdays.
Well, that being said, so we've talked about like my love of parties, kind of what I've done,
Yeah.
the experiences you've had, and like the culture we're in with birthdays. But there might be limitations to the birthday throwing that you're doing, whether that's financial, time
Mhm.
capacity, mental capacity, like all sorts of things. There's different ways to throw birthday parties, and I wanted to give some tangible tips of like how to navigate birthdays when you do have a little bit of constraint. One of the biggest tips I'll have if you are in a budget situation is to save money by having your party at a certain time where you don't have to supply a lot of food. So, one of the greatest times to do a party is between 2 and 4, if that's your constraint, because it's after lunch but before dinner. So, nobody
Mhm.
is expecting a full meal. That being said, if you're going to have very limited food, you need to describe that on the invite, because otherwise
Mhm.
people are going to show up expecting like hors d'oeuvres, and you may not have that supplied. And so you want to be
Mhm.
clear about that. I recently attended an ice cream party at that timeline, and it was just ice cream. It was like, come to our house and enjoy some ice cream and celebrate our daughter's birthday. And it was like very clear it was just ice cream. And so we fed our kids lunch and then headed over and had some ice cream in the middle of the day. And I'm sure she
Mhm.
had it all set up. It was cute. There was like a little tent and a table. And there's like water activities outside, and everybody got 2 scoops of ice cream and toppings. And just 4, I think that's perfectly appropriate for a 4-year old. Like everybody had fun. It was great. My kids had fun. They were super stoked about being able to top their own ice cream. I've had other friends throw parties where they're in the morning and they'll just do like breakfast. So they'll say, okay, come join us for coffee and donuts and like milk for the
Mhm.
kids. And that way there's not that expectation of we're going to have cake and cupcakes and hors d'oeuvres and all that stuff. It saves you some money.
Yeah, totally. And I think, yeah, because there's nothing worse than, can you imagine if, say, you'd got a party at starting at 2 o'clock, if you, as the parent who had been invited to that party, hadn't fed your kid lunch because you're thinking, oh, let's not have a lot because you're going to a party and then there's no food there. So I think you're right. I think if you're doing it like that, which is perfectly fine, just make it clear
On the invitation, you want to say,
on the
and then
invitation,
maybe
make it
even in the
clear. And I think
text,
it's a good,
like,
yeah, yeah, sure. And I think it's a great idea, actually. I think that's a fantastic idea, but just
yeah.
make it clear so there's no like, oh my God, like my kid's been starving and there's only donuts. This is terrible.
Totally, totally. And like, people expect your kids to get hyped up on sugar at birthday parties. So they're okay with
Oh
like
yeah.
usually a donut or something. But they are not okay if you don't tell them there's no food. You have to tell people if there isn't going to be food. If you're in the winter months, like a hot cocoa bar, something like that could work. Just something really small. And then, one thing that moms forget about is that we're being invited to birthday parties constantly. Especially, I don't know about you, girl, but like the fall months, I don't know what
Mm,
was going on 10 months ago, but people were procreating, okay? Like there are a lot of fall birthdays, and it's right in the middle of like Christmas chaos because I'm trying to like
yeah.
figure out, birthday party stuff and then Christmas gifts and stocking stuffers and all the things. And it's like one extra thing to have to think about, and also my budget. And so a tip I have is that I have a gift closet at my house. And
Oh,
when I find something on a killer deal, if it's a good
uh-huh.
gift, we'll buy a bunch of it and keep it in the gift closet for birthday parties throughout the year. So,
Oh, wow.
a couple of Black Fridays ago, there was this major discount on those old school, like, what do you call it? Viewfinders, from like the 80s, where you like click
Okay.
and you can see
Yeah.
different pictures. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, these are they were like major sale. It's like $3 or something. And they're normally like, $10, $12. And so
Mm,
I bought a ton of them and I just put them in my
mm,
closet. And then whenever we went to a birthday party, I bought those. And I also bought a bunch of discount books from like Marshall's, and I would throw a viewfinder and a children's book into a little party bag and be on my way out. And so I didn't have to worry about going to the store or shopping for something. And that was a pretty appropriate gift for most children in the age range for my kids. So a hot tip, like I do that with teacher gifts. I do that with
mm.
housewarming gifts. If I see something that could be a good gift, I buy a ton of it.
Okay, so I want to ask you something. Have you got a budget on how much to spend on friends? So, your kid's been invited to a party. What's your typical budget? Because, sometimes the girls get given quite expensive stuff from their friends, and I wouldn't have spent that on them. I think that's excessive for especially not someone who maybe is their best friend. And so
Yeah.
I mean, I try. I don't know whether this sounds a little tight, but I mean, like $30 is usually kind of my cut off. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's ample. And then sometimes, depending on the friend, if they don't know this person very well, even like 20. But I think 30, because we're dealing with teenagers here as well in my situation. But, I think like a $20 Sephora gift card's like nice. I think I'd be happy with that. I don't know what your thoughts are
I
on,
mean,
budget for
like I said,
gifts.
I usually, for most kids' birthdays that aren't like besties, I have
Mhm.
stuff that I'm just grabbing.
Okay.
And I would say the retail for that is under 20 for sure.
Okay. Okay.
So I think 20 for young children and, young teens probably is going to be good enough. But
Mhm.
that being said, if it's someone I'm very close to, and we see them a lot and I just really want to be generous, I usually go 50.
Do
And that's
you? Okay.
just it just depends.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I'm going to a birthday party this weekend for my friend who has a son who has become my daughter's like bestie. And they're just the
Oh.
cutest little toddlers together. He did bite her
Oh.
once, but I think it was out of love. Um, but like I love their family, and so I'm gonna go to the store, and I know for a fact they do not need toys because I've been to their house.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna go get a bunch of cute outfits. And so I'm probably gonna spend about 40, $50 because I'm gonna buy a couple cute, pairs of outfits, maybe some jammies and a card. So I imagine that the budget will be a little higher. But for most kids' birthdays who I don't know all that well, they're getting kind of a generic $20 to $30 gift.
Yeah, I think that's good. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
one thing about when the kids get older, they do love gift cards. Like my girls' friends, they're over the moon if they get a Starbucks gift card or a Sephora gift card. So I'm loving that. I don't need to go to the toy shop or to
I
Target or anything anymore.
controversial opinion, I unless you're far away from me, I don't like
Hmm.
gift cards as my
Right.
gift as a birthday. So then
Yes, I
I'm
hear
not
that.
likely to give other people a gift card.
Hmm.
Caveat being, like, for instance, if it was your birthday, I might send you something that you can use in a gift card form because I can't, like, I'm not going to mail you a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
But, if I'm seeing you all the time, I want something personal. And if for my best
yeah.
friend, her birthday's actually in a couple weeks, and I have been gathering things for several months now to put in a care package because I am
Wow.
like, gift giving is a love language of mine. I want her to open it and go, oh my gosh, she thought so much about this. Like, I really,
Yeah.
value this.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, you're such a thoughtful person. But have you
Oh,
got any other
thanks.
tips that you want to share?
You know what? I just, in closing, just want to share that, like, this is so in the make or break thing of parenting, not something to stress your mind off on.
Yeah.
People, every year, you will have a birthday. And if one year it's not magical, oh my God, it's almost like a wedding. Well, I mean, who cares? There's another birthday coming next year. You know what I mean? There's all these opportunities, and it's not something where we need to stress out or feel like we need to keep up with other moms. Think about how you
Hmm.
might attend a birthday party for others and how you look at the decor, how you look at the way things are presented. I don't know about you, Claire, but I've never walked into a birthday party being hypercritical. I've never thought,
No,
wow,
no.
that table decor is disappointing, or there's not enough balloons in here. Like, I've never done that. And so when you're faced with decisions about birthday parties and planning and all that stuff, just remember that nobody cares as much as you. And, it's for ultimately your kid to have a good time. So, if you are struggling, grab some balloons, get some Domino pizza, and just make it happen.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of the Momversation Club.
And if you've enjoyed today's show, which we hope you have, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach even more moms and build a stronger village.
Until next time, bye from us.